Welcome everyone, this is Andres Restart, and this time we're trying to figure out who are going to be the 5 final DLC challengers for the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Fighters Pass. But before we get into that, I want to give my 2 cents on a couple things. One, I actually liked the Nintendo Direct. I thought it was pretty good. Maybe the pacing was a little off, but overall, in terms of the content, World of Light mode, which totally blew me away by the way, I can't believe everyone died except for Kirby. I thought it was all great, and in terms of the final roster, I think it's fantastic. I always thought it was going to be fantastic, regardless of how many characters we were going to get once we got the full initial reveal when we knew everyone was going to be in the game. That said, I was on Team Real with this whole Grinch League controversy, and I did notice that there was a lot of toxicity and disagreements and a lot of hateful, spiteful arguments going on the internet. Now, I'm not going to try and tell you how you should act, right, but I do want to stress that while I was wrong, right, a lot of people were wrong. I don't think you should feel bad about that. Everyone's going to be wrong and correct about things all the time. I think, when it comes to these things, we should have our opinions, discuss them civilly, and that's it. And of course, when it comes to leaks and rumors, you should always be taking it with a grain of salt. You never really know when something's going to be real or not until it's confirmed by Nintendo. That all said, I'm extremely excited for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and I'm really curious about who the final 5 characters are going to be, so let's try and figure it out. Alright, so there's a few things I want to take into consideration when trying to figure out these 5 characters. So one thing I think we should understand is that as things stand right now, the plan is to just have these 5 characters for DLC, and this entire Fighters Pass, the entire season, will end on February 2020. So in other words, if you've been hearing that they've had plans for DLC to go through 2020, that just means these 5 final fighters. That doesn't mean a second season pass. So am I saying there won't be a second season pass ever? No, that's not what I'm saying, but at this point it's not confirmed, and I think it probably would be pretty reasonable to not expect that. So then all we're working with are these final 5 characters. Now a couple things that are shaping my predictions. 1. The way DLC worked for Super Smash Bros. Wii U and 3DS. What am I getting at exactly? Well, there are actual 7 DLC characters for Smash Bros. Wii U and 3DS, and these were the characters. Bayonetta, kind of a third-party character. Corrin, Nintendo character, first-party. Cloud, third-party character, a major one. Ryu, another major third-party character. Roy, a Nintendo character. Lucas, a Nintendo character. And Mewtwo, a Nintendo character. So then, how is it going to work this time? Well, there's not going to be 7 characters, there's going to be 5. But I do think there's going to be at least a couple major third-party characters, and there are not going to be any echoes because Sakurai said there won't be any echoes. So basically, I'm going to assume at least 2 major third-party characters amongst these 5, and on top of that, I don't think any relatively new characters are going to be a part of this list, because here's the thing, during the Direct, Sakurai did reveal the Rex Mii Fighter costume. And as much as it pains me to say it, based off what he said after having gone and listened to it a few times, it seems pretty clear to me at this point that what he was alluding to was that they planned the entire roster, including these DLC characters, before Xenoblade Chronicles 2 came out. Meaning that any sort of character that's going to be a part of DLC isn't a relatively new character. It's got to be even older than Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and because we got the Mii Fighter costume, I don't think we're getting Rex and Pyra in this DLC. Which is unfortunate because I want Rex and Pyra more than anyone else, but you never know, maybe if there is a second season pass, which is not announced yet, maybe they'll make it in then. So then, who are going to actually be these 5 characters? Well, another thing we should probably talk about actually is this Vergaben thing. While the Grinch leak was a total hoax, everything that Vergaben has said has come true except for 2 things yet. One of which is a Square rep, and the other is Minecraft content. So, it's legitimately possible that one of these 5 characters could be Minecraft Steve. And I'll just tell you straight up, I don't like the idea of that, and in my opinion, that's not what's going to happen. I think if there's going to be Minecraft content, as Vergaben has alluded to, I think what it's going to be is just maybe something in Spirits. And if you think about it, that's not really that much of a stretch, because Spirits is very far-reaching. It's pulling in from all sorts of video game franchises. It has a much bigger reach than we've ever seen for Smash Bros. When it comes to these different Spirits, so I could definitely very easily see some sort of Minecraft content in this form. But in terms of there being a Microsoft representative, I think that actually makes sense. And as I said before, the relationship between Nintendo and Microsoft has been getting very, very strong. There have been rumors of it, so I'm just going to say it right here. Banjo and Kazooie, I think, are still going to be in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but as DLC. And before the whole Grinch leak hoax, I was thinking they were probably going to be DLC anyway, and I was actually thinking that they would probably be announced at the Video Game Awards. So maybe we'll see the first of these 5 characters announced at the Video Game Awards. Now going back to another thing I said, I do think there probably is going to be another Square rep. I think that Square rep would make sense for it to be Geno. It could potentially be Sora. That could count as one of the major third-party characters. I think definitely that would have the big oomph in terms of the Cloud Ryu sort of level in terms of big third-party characters. But considering that the plan for these DLC characters was probably even before Xenoblade Chronicles 2, back before Sora was ever really kind of a reasonable option on Nintendo's system, I think it's probably more likely that Geno is going to be in, especially since he wasn't deconfirmed with any Mii costumes in Smash Ultimate based off the Direct, even though we had a Mii costume in Smash 4. So I think Geno is going to be another one of these 5 DLC characters. And before you say that Geno was deconfirmed because he's a spirit, he actually isn't, or at least we haven't seen any evidence of that yet. The icon that people keep on pointing towards is actually an icon for him in Battle Arena, and all these different icons are just avatars, they are not spirits. But to be totally honest, while Geno technically is a Square rep, in my opinion, he's kind of one of those blurred line situations. He's kind of more like a Bayonetta, so I don't really count him as a major third-party character. He's kind of, like I said, he's a blurred line situation. So what I'm saying is I think there's going to be another major third-party character. So this major third-party character, honestly, I think he's been a long time coming. I think he definitely needs to make it in the game in some way, and that character is Rayman. Ubisoft still doesn't have a major representative in this game, and they work very well with Nintendo compared with a lot of the other third-party companies that are getting representation in this game. So I think Rayman is very likely as DLC in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So that leaves me 2 more spots, and technically, I already said 3 characters that are third-party. So these last 2 characters absolutely need to be full-on Nintendo characters. So who could they be? Well, one of them I think actually could be Dixie Kong. I think Dixie Kong makes a lot of sense. She's a very popular character. She's one of the final remaining characters that was really high up in the polls that hasn't been shown off in the game yet. At one point they may have even considered making Dixie Kong an echo of Diddy Kong, but they probably realized that that just probably wasn't a good idea to appropriately represent Dixie Kong, so they probably decided, hey, it makes more sense to bring her in as a DLC character. I agree, so I think Dixie Kong could be one of these 5 DLC characters. And now this brings me to the final character. And I'm going to bring up Rex and Pyra again. Am I saying they're going to be in? No, but if this is my dream list, I definitely think Rex and Pyra would fit right in there. But I don't think they're going to make it in based off what Sakurai said at the end of the Nintendo Direct. But that doesn't mean I don't think there'll be any Xenoblade character in the DLC. I think Elma from Xenoblade Chronicles X actually makes a lot of sense. She's another very popular character. There's definitely a lot of people pulling in for her. She's one of the last remaining Nintendo characters that would have any sort of oomph, in my opinion, in terms of making it in as DLC. I think it'd be great. I think Elma has tons of moves and arts that she could use. She definitely has her overdrive mode that could definitely be a mechanic that they use. And on top of that, she could definitely jump into a mech for a final smash, which would fit right in with that report we heard about Sakurai working on some project with a toy gun. So then that makes sense. I think that's what's going to happen here. I think the 5 characters in the Fighter's Pass are going to be Elma from Xenoblade Chronicles X, Dixie Kong from Donkey Kong Country, Geno from Super Mario RPG, Rayman from Rayman, and Banjo and Kazooie from Banjo and Kazooie. So those are my thoughts, guys. Those are my predictions. I feel like I broke it down pretty well. If you have any disagreements or other ideas, let me know in the comments below. And also let me know if you think we'll ever see a second season of DLC, so maybe we could eventually get characters like Rex and Pyra someday in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. But anyways, everyone, thank you so much for listening and watching. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe to see all sorts of Nintendo content. And guys, if you haven't done it yet, make sure to hit that notification bell. But that's all for now, everyone. See you really soon. Bye.